Okay, Matt, and whenever you'd like to get started.
Great, David. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Matt Bogosian here, Executive Director of AMCC. It's David Van Sicklen, our Operations Director, and it's June 16th, 2025, and our 30-minute national call. Same time every Monday, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, and 8:30 Pacific time. Uh, some of you are new. I see it's good to have you on the call. This is AMCC's national 30-minute call at the beginning of every week. That goes hand in hand with the AMCC Update newsletter that goes out at the end of the week. And wow, the AMCC Update this Friday, like just about every Friday, is jam-packed with all kinds of good info. And hopefully we can talk about some of those items today. This is a roundtable day. So some Mondays we have a 10, 15-minute presentation. Other Mondays we just go around the room and get your good input. So in a second here, I'm going to turn to you to introduce yourself, where you are in the manufacturing ecosystem of support, what region you're in, what organization, public, private, nonprofit organization, whatever it is. Maybe you're focused on priority industry or priority technology, how you see yourself as a part of the regional ecosystems of support there. We're building and maintaining relationships, which is no foo-foo exercise. To get structural change in this country from the bottom up, we need to drive together with those relationships toward better structures. And so that's relationship building, of course, but building a common narrative and getting clear on common framework for strategies and actions that we can execute from whatever perch we happen to occupy in the ecosystem of support. So that's the overall MO. And so what we like to do at the start of every call, but especially on a roundtable call, is to have folks introduce themselves. I see one of our co-founders there, Andy Stetner from the Century Foundation. So, Andy, why don't you model how somebody that's an important part of the ecosystem of support can introduce themselves? Yeah.
Oh, well, good morning, everyone. I'm Andy Stetner. I am the Director of Economy and Jobs at the Century Foundation. And yeah, when in 2017 was started as a long memo, is now an organization that has just surpassed all our expectations for connecting people and supporting all we are doing to build up manufacturing, economic, and workforce development. Yeah, at a time of a lot of change and really, remembering every time I talk to a state or regional partner, it's always the best conversation, even as a national organization right now, because you guys are trying to solve problems. We do research and policy around manufacturing broadly, especially as it comes to workforce development and recruiting effectively from all communities in workforce. So hope that was good, Matt.
Yeah, that was great, Andy. Good to have you on. Right. So as you know, and some of you that are new might not know, we have developed over the course of working together all of this framework around the ecosystem of support and manufacturing and key industries, the six priority industries and emerging technologies in one pillar, and a second pillar, what we call the big six ecosystem of support. So Andy was talking about the Century Foundation and his particular focus on workforce is one of those important overlapping areas of the big six of a regional ecosystem of support around manufacturing. Um, but it's related to the other ones, which includes infrastructure and supply chain support and research and entrepreneurship and capital access and operational improvement. And what we're seeing is very very hard right now is around the trade, right? The uncertainty around the trade. So thanks, Andy. So if you want to introduce yourself, say where you are in the ecosystem of support, you can always raise your hand. We had, in terms of this relationship building activity that we do, this has been going on for 10 years, this call every Monday for 30 minutes. We also do the AMCC update, which is both of them are weekly opportunities for you to elevate things that you think are going to be important for the ecosystem of support. We ground truth that with AMCC roadshow visits, where we can, so that we can trot out what this group has developed over the decade and get a feedback. Is this really happening on the ground, right? Because the only way we're going to make improvements across the country to the structures that we need is to really have people on the ground, bottom up, doing the good hard work in an integrated fashion. And so we get to test that proposition like we did last week in 2 spots. We were in Illinois, which was great, in the Rockford area with the defense manufacturing community, and then we were in the Inland Empire of California. Yeah, I see Don. Don, you want to come on and introduce yourself and say where you are in the ecosystem of support? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Matt. Don Ufford from NIST Office of Advanced Manufacturing. And many of you may have heard of us through Manufacturing USA. So we're the network of institutes across the United States where we're focused on advanced manufacturing technology. Work with a lot of you. Thank you very much for those of you who are working with us on both the economic development side and then also on workforce development side. And so we're excited to tell everybody that coming up here, we should be able to make an announcement about the availability of an RFI for the next strategy for advanced manufacturing that should be coming out soon. And once that's available, I'll make sure to get it out to David and Matt so that all of you can comment back on that. And that's an effort that we put forth every 4 years in order to set up the strategy. In fact, I'll drop the current strategy into the chat so everybody can see it, and that'll give you an idea of what's going to be coming up. But thanks for hosting this, Matt. Great project.
Thank you, Don. So I should have been more specific. Don Ufford is at our national headquarters in the Department of Commerce. There's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and that's where Don is. Another Don, D-A-W-N, Carter in the Inland Empire is where we had a roadshow this last week. And so Don, you're new to the AMCC community across the country. Why don't you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what happened this week, or last week.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt and David. So my name's Dawn Carter. I'm with California Baptist University, located in Southern California, about halfway between Los Angeles and Palm Springs, and also known as the Inland Empire. And we're involved within the manufacturing ecosystem with mainly through our College of Engineering, sending engineers out into the workforce. Our School of Business is also very active in the neurodiverse hiring ecosystem and making sure that there are opportunities for all. And I'm really glad to be here. So it's my first time. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Let's see who else. Well, Sally Hanley, you're on. We were in Illinois with you last week. Give a few 2 cents where you are in the ecosystem of support. Yeah.
Sure. We're in the best ecosystem. So thanks for visiting us in the Rockford area. So Chicago, Rockford, Quad Cities, and Greater Peoria participated in a roundtable quarterly meeting hosted by our Greater Rockford Chamber. And then also participating was our grant sponsor, University of Illinois, Chicago Voorhees Center. And then David Boulay, who's the president of the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center. So good discussions report out for the last quarter's activity. Our 3 buckets are modernization, automation of the casting and forging primarily industry, and then workforce, apprenticeships, and looking for opportunities for underserved representation from the populations, and then just collaboration. So thanks, Matt, and glad you could attend.
Yeah, and just underscoring kind of one of the key priority industries in this country is the defense industries. And so we have, thanks to as many of you here, we have, stimulated the federal government to create a defense manufacturing community support program to fund regions to be organized and to stay organized around critical manufacturing subsectors And in the case of the one that Illinois one that Sally was talking about right there, that's critical money to really assess what's happening in a particular sub area like casting and forging, right? We need to make smarter products that solve problems, and you just don't do that overnight. You need the best data. And these guys have really driven down into identifying who the casters and forgers are in their region. They have this great study of, I think it's 414, right, Sally? 414 folks in that particular area. How many of them are adding value to the defense industrial base? How, if at all, are they adopting new technologies? What are the workforce training programs? What's happening around the silver tsunami? How many of those are aging out, right? We have a lot of complicated challenges in terms of strengthening the manufacturing industrial base, and those interventions that bring stakeholders together, like we had in the Inland Empire, Don, and last week, are super important. What's the connective tissue that makes that happen? I mean, it's a challenging time. We talked on this call about the divestment of our manufacturing extension partnership part of the ecosystem of support. That's a really undermining this bottom-up effort that we all have to lean in on. And it includes a lot of private sector leaders too, from high-level organizations. I see Kevin Ross is on here from Accenture, right? They're trying to collect and offer up the best data about how to help regions, reshore, nearshore. Kevin, you want to say where you are in the ecosystem? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, Kevin Ross from Accenture Consulting. I'm on our Industry X team, which focuses on supply chain manufacturing, product development. Big focus today obviously is on reshoring, rebuilding supply chains in the US. A big part of that, though, is how to use technology and human ingenuity to make that happen. We have to be efficient. A big focus on things such as digital twin, digital thread, physical AI and robotics, the things that are going to be required to help us drive productivity in the US. So we have all the resources to help companies bring those capabilities to fruition.
Thanks, Kevin. And yeah, it's critical to have, on our manufacturing community ecosystem metrics tool and playbook. David can drop the 1.0 version of the playbook. We meet every other week with NIST headquarters, Nico Thomas there, but also with our friends at Deloitte and other federal agencies that have all this public data that's available, and it's not woven together in any kind of meaningful way. So we're trying to work with many entities, including DARPA, to help accelerate the pace of progress so that regional leaders can weave together all the different interventions that land in their community, like in the Inland Empire or like in Illinois, so that we can have more predictable outcomes from the interventions that we generate. So having private sector support, in that effort, Kevin, and is so important. So thanks for that. And every part of the ecosystem is important. Private sector is important. We heard Don Ufford from NIST in the federal government. There's so many silos of the federal government that are important. I talked about the big six in a region, capital access, right? How do we get the money? How do we have Ron Kelly on here from the Department of Treasury. The SSBCI program is a way to hopefully get money into the manufacturing ecosystem of support for manufacturers. Ron, you want to come on and say where you are in the ecosystem and the value add of SSBCI? Yeah. All right, maybe he's away from it. All right, let's try. And people, just raise your hand if you're new to this. You're like, what's going on here? I can't believe who are all these people? Raise your hand, introduce yourself. Well, I see Brent Weil. You are an integrator of sorts. So Brent, tell folks where you are in the ecosystem of support. Yeah.
There's the unmute. Thanks, Matt. I scratched my forehead, and all of a sudden I'm raising my hand. But we appreciate the network that you provide here. I addressed about a month ago. I said a few words about the work at Jobs for the Future in building out manufacturing networks focused on apprenticeship, work-based learning. And so JFF has been doing that work as supporting registered apprenticeships in manufacturing for over 8 years, directly with the U.S. Department of Labor. Also, there's a particular project that we have underway that provides significant support I think, of considerable interest to the defense industry. It's funded by Department of Defense and through the Composites Institute. That's funding work-based learning programs and support for casting, rolling, and forging specifically. I really recognize the importance of that. And so we've been building out that network, providing support for registered apprenticeship and work-based learning programs, as well as connecting to youth programs and boot camps that are out there. So significant support underway for that.
Thanks, Brent. Great to have you on, and always adding value to the network and the ecosystem of support. I see Telly Tucker's hand, my new friend from Virginia. Telly, what a great time we had at your facility out there in Danville, Virginia, in support of our Defense Industrial Base and the Navy and shipbuilding. Yeah, introduce yourself and tell folks about the good hard work you're doing. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity. This is my first meeting, and thank you for inviting me to join the network. I'm the president at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research in Danville, Virginia. We are an economic development, workforce development, and research organization that supports a number of things. Most notably, probably, is the ATDM program, the Accelerated Training and Defense Manufacturing Program, which is a nationwide workforce development program to support the Defense Industrial Base, whereby we train about 800 to 1,000 students every year in industrial skill trades, manufacturing skill trades. We also support on our campus the Navy's Additive Manufacturing Center of Excellence, where we're looking at how do we additively manufacture 3D print component parts for Navy ships, either both in repair or new construction, as another opportunity to support manufacturing in addition to castings and forgings. So lots of good work going on here in Danville, Virginia, and I look forward to getting better connected in the network.
That's great, Telly. Great to have you on. You know, we're developing this maritime ecosystem of exchange, which is actually what led me to visit your impressive facility around training in the maritime industrial base. You know, what Telly and I talked about at the end of that meeting and a subsequent Zoom meeting is how do we get this skill building for the maritime industry distributed that he showcases at his facility. What does it tell you? You guys expect to have 1,000 trainees a year at some point in the near future? Is that right?
Yes, next year.
Yeah, that's significant step in the right direction. So thank you for your leadership there and sharing the value so other regions around the country can take those best practices. David Ventura, welcome. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on, for putting this on. I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is David. I'm CEO of Smart Battery Analytics. We're headquartered in Orange County, so just on the other side of the railroad tracks there from the IE. We have an AI-driven software platform that helps battery manufacturers identify bad cells in their battery packs, ideally before deployment, but potentially in field as well.
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you. So again, we have public, private, nonprofit stakeholders that are closely connected in support of manufacturers, and so it's great that you're connected here. I see people are using the chat too. I should have said that at the outset, you guys. If you're new, that is a really useful vehicle for our, part of our 30 minutes, right? You guys are all busy stakeholders. Don't have time for a lot of meetings. So this once a week, Monday, getting the week started, 30 minutes, dive in, share as much as you possibly can. Of course, coming on and saying, hey, because that's a key part of the relationships, but it's also building independent relationships from the chat. So Melanie Lang, I see there. Good morning, Melanie's out here from San Diego. Great to have you there as with everyone. So let's see who else wants to say hello. Yeah. Hi, Lana. Welcome.
Hi everyone. Good morning, guys. This is my first time here. Thank you so much for having me. I just wanna say that we're doing energy efficiency for manufacturing, and we are running international projects right now. And I just want to find first American project, first local projects to work in convenient time zone, I would say. So we've offered pilot projects for manufacturing companies. I would love to work with the integrators as well, also with consulting companies. So if you are interested to have us on board, reach me out at lana@centersoftware.com.
Great. You
Thank you
can
so
use the
much.
chat, put your info in there. I see our new friend up in Maine, John Lewis. You want to quickly introduce yourself, sir?
Hi, sure. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I think I met a couple of you on the last call. I'm the new executive director for the Manufacturers Association of Maine, taking over from Mike Roten, who will be dearly missed. Just regarding workforce development, I've got, over 2 decades of workforce development experience. Recently, I had my own consulting business where we help clients with their recruiting and retention strategies. And so, as we all know, workforce development is a huge challenge for manufacturers. I think that's been said a few times already. And we're, currently in the works of bringing in a $50 million project to the state of Maine to create a regional training system. So that's, working with current training programs out there, not necessarily standing up something new. As much as we would love to have an ATDM up here in Maine, I don't think that's going to be financially feasible, nor would it be a good ROI to do so. Interestingly enough, I believe I'm actually going to be down there in Danville on July 8th to check out the place in person, meeting with Jason Wells down there. So looking forward to seeing that, and I'm looking forward to continuing these meetings, learning from you all, sharing with you what we're doing up here in Maine, and hopefully tearing down all those silos that you've talked about there. So
rock and roll. Sounds good, John.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
Thank you. And Andy Crawford, Next Street. Welcome. Tell us where you are in the ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, hi there. Good morning. Andy Crawford. I am physically in Lansing, Michigan, but Next Street works around the country. We work with governments, corporations, philanthropies, and higher ed institutions who want to support the small businesses in their supply chains or in their communities. So we've got a big project here in Michigan that is helping the 1,000 small and medium-sized manufacturers navigate the changes that are taking place throughout the state as they either weather an energy transition within their manufacturing programs or look forward to pivot into other opportunities. That is going to be launching tomorrow. What is called the My Hub for Manufacturers, MI, everything in Michigan is My. And that will be an event launching in Detroit with the Lieutenant Governor to build a tech platform that those manufacturers can access all the resources they need to transition or weather economic challenges. So look forward to sending out more information about that. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Andy. And yeah, we're excited about being in Detroit, Michigan, which is going to be August 5 through 7. We have a Manufacturing Momentum Summit that's event that is sponsored by Mantech and DoD with our friends at the Center for Regional Economic Competitiveness. David, if he hasn't done so already, can drop information about that meeting. David, could you tell folks we have a pregame call on that coming up, right?
Yes, Matt. We've so far put on 2 sort of pregame webinars that are describing the objectives for that event. There'll be another one coming up here on the second week of July. I'll have more information on that in this Friday's update. And then for everyone who's attending right before the actual event. I believe the day is going to be July 31st. Let me confirm that really quick. Yeah, so on July 31st, if you're planning to attend that Manufacturing Momentum Summit, please come to our pregame call. This is going to be with us, Center for Regional Economic Competitiveness, and the WE Upjohn Institute, who are all co-leading that event. So please come describe what you want to get out of the event, and we can field some questions to make those 3 days together as productive as possible.
And one of the pieces, so the first gentleman that came on today's call, Don Ufford from NIST headquarters in Washington, D.C., he was talking about the Manufacturing Institutes of Innovation. So for those of you that are relatively new to this network, we have 18 manufacturing institutes, all dedicated to a separate technology. And so this 3-day summit in Detroit is going to be covering a lot of areas around workforce and defense. But it's important to know, we talked about the 3 pillars, so it's not only the defense industry, but it's all of the different kinds of technologies that we have to get into the small and medium-sized manufacturers across the country, which is like, you just don't wave a hand and that happens, right? There's workforce implications. Where do we get the people to do that? Like, back to the capital access, how do we get the, we got to have relationships with those manufacturers, and that's where, the MEPs are important on that, and so many other stakeholders like our private sector friends who are doing the good hard work, to keep the lights on and find efficiencies. So a lot of those discussions are going to happen in person at that summit, and then the pregame activities, some of which we're going to involve the institutes themselves. I saw you come back on, Don. We just have a couple minutes left, but there's, you want to say a bit about the institutes? We have 18 right now. There's another one on deck, and how stakeholders around the country can get connected to them. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks again there, Matt. We can drop in the chat, manufacturingusa.com. Actually, we have 19. We added one on digital twins for semiconductors. So that was the most recent one we added, about 300 million in base federal funding, and it's usually a 2-to-1 match coming out of private industry. For those of you on the call that haven't been associated with the Institute before, it's worthwhile to take a look at the website, take a look at those institutes, and they're designed to have national impact, although they're regionally located. So you'll see that some of them have one location, others like IACME, which focuses on composites and advanced manufacturing for composites. They have a number of locations throughout the United States in order to better diffuse that technology. So you and or your manufacturing members, as you look at your ecosystem in your region, as your manufacturing members are looking for opportunities to move into some new areas, apply new advanced manufacturing technology, whether it's in composites, whether it's in digital innovation, semiconductors, microelectronics. We cover a number of areas, life sciences. We have the capability for them to come and join and then participate with not only the industrial members that are already members, but also the academic members that are already members. And typically what happens is they'll form small teams to do work on a particular technology that the members need to solve a problem in order to make sure it can be implemented. So they're very much focused on how do we solve the last problem, de-risk it, so that that technology can go out into manufacture and be implemented. So love to have you join. A lot of cool stuff there, a lot of cool workforce development stuff also, because not only do you need technology, but as Matt and David and others have talked on here, we need to make sure the workforce is ready to utilize that technology. So thank you very much for the opportunity to bring that up.
That's awesome, Don. And thank you all. We are at the top of the hour. We value your time, but we're around. So send us notes, give us a call in between now and then. What you got, send it to us, man. We can elevate it in the AMCC update, which we get tons of feedback, positive feedback about how valuable that is. As a kind of a curation of every week's fire hose of information that comes out related to the manufacturing ecosystem of support and making smarter products that solve problems. So thanks all for being on this week. I'll stay on for a little bit if folks want to chat a little bit more, but that ends the call. Have a good week. Happy Father's Day to those dads yesterday. Hope you had a good Father's Day. So take care.